You are not sick on a croissant, is it? Yeah, it was just Rwanda.
No, it was no, I actually wasn't sick in Chile, just a little at the beginning, because well, I traveled from Santiago to Milipeuco by bike, and maybe
Wow.
that was a bit too big,
How
and a
many
bit.
kilometers are that? Because I went by car and that was 10 hours.
Yeah, it was. I think it was 1,000 or 1,200, something like this.
So you did over
And
1,000 to do 1,000 race.
yeah, but the last bit, to be honest, I took a bus for the last, I don't know, 150 or 200 kilometers, just because I wasn't feeling that well and wanted to have some more time to recover before the race. So I took the bus for the last mile.
Big shout out to our sponsors. Listeners, don't miss out on these amazing deals. Get 10% off Psych Plus, the best e-pump on the market. 35% off Frey Skincare for skin that sweats. And 25% off Genki Wellness nutrition packages. All using the coupon code Zone to Speak at checkout. Head to the podcast description for all the links and grab your exclusive discounts today. And now for the episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Zone to Speak podcast. I'm your host, Juliana. Ulrich has redefined endurance racing on two wheels. In this episode, we will explore his journey, the mindset that keeps him going, and what it takes to thrive in the toughest races. So, settle in as we enter the zone with Uba and uncover the passion and resilience behind his incredible achievements. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thanks for making the time. So, I wanted to ask you because you were such an incredible athlete, and I just remember you coming to the scene and cleaning out, like you're winning everything, you're in every race. So, were you always into cycling? What drew you into cycling, if not?
Well, I started cycling as a small kid, mainly to commute to school. So I lived in a small town, and my school was like in the next city, 10 kilometers away. So I commuted by bike, but this was not really focused on like sportive cycling, just literally for commuting. And at some point, um, because I grew up in a part of Germany, in the middle of Germany, where it's a bit hilly, and we had some downhill racetracks like in the neighborhood. So I came into mountain biking, and that was actually the first kind of cycling that had a more sportive background. So I did and enjoyed this for a couple of years. And then I moved to Leipzig and Berlin for studies. And there it's only flat land. So if you have like a proper mountain bike, it's totally useless there. And also, as a student, you need every euro you can find. So I basically sold that bike and had a bit of cash to buy groceries and stuff. So I stopped cycling for a long while, and after studies, I moved to Munich and started to work. And I always say everything has its time in life. And back then, my focus was way more on working and building a career than on cycling. So I stopped cycling for something like 10 years and rediscovered cycling at a point in my life when I was 30 kilograms more than I am right now. So maybe I got a bit chubby or something.
It happens.
um,
You're, studying and then starting your career. Germany also has cold winters.
Exactly, exactly. And yeah, then I rediscovered cycling now 10 years ago, something in 2013, 14. And it started with road cycling. So I got my very first road bike, and it started like normal cycling, going for a ride every now and then I discovered this kind of Gran Fondo-like races that there are plenty of them in Austria, Switzerland, Italy. And as I lived in Munich, that's like a good trip for a weekend. Discovered them, and it was good fun to do this 1 day races with, I don't know, 120, 180 kilometers. And then I also started riding more, just like for training, to get fit and fitter. And at some point, I don't know exactly when, but somehow it escalated a bit, and then I was riding, I don't know, 10,000 kilometer a year, and the next year it was 15, and then it was 20,000, and well, in 2019 I ended up with my very first ultra long distance race, which was 900 kilometer, something like this, the Trans-Pyrenees here in Spain. Um, well, and that was, to be honest, it was the beginning of the end, and then things just, my wife always says, things just got worse.
And that's a tough one, right? It's a lot of kilometers. It feels like it just goes up. I mean, it's beautiful, but it's a tough one to start.
Yeah, it was the only one nearby, so I only did it by accident, so it was not planned or something. But I was traveling Spain and Portugal and was looking for something like this 1 day races that I did until then. But there is those kind of Gran Fondo like races, they are not existing in Spain. So in Spain, you have a pretty active culture of this like criterium like races, but nothing which you can simply enter by registration. You always have to be part of a federation or something. And there was not a Gran Fondo scene or something. And the only thing which was happening somewhere nearby was this Trans-Pyrenees thing, and I never did something like this before, but it sounded interesting, and I was just curious to try it, and so I signed up and said like, yeah, I mean, let's go for a ride. It might take a bit longer, and it was super good fun just to jump on and just try it with absolutely no idea, with no expectations, with nothing. And that's also what I recommend to people if someone asks me how to start with this kind of ultra cycling. I always tell this story and say like, grab your bike, grab a few things, load them on the bike, and go for it. I mean, you can always stop and, I don't know, descend from the mountain, go to the next train station, and take a train home if you don't feel it. Then there is always a way to escape. But in the other case, just go and try.
Yeah, I completely agree. You can be just a full day as well, leave in the morning, spend the day on the bike, stop to eat, come back home. That's the beginning. You never know what's going to happen, and it's so much fun. But so what in this experience of your first race in the Pyrenees you think it was the milestone, if you will, that you're like, I like this, I want to do another ultra?
Well, it's always the same. I feel there are a lot of highs and lows during such a long thing. So it took me 2 days to complete the route, and I had moments that were absolutely.
By the way, that's amazing. 2 days, first
Thank you.
ultra crossing the Pyrenees.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I had moments that were incredibly amazing. You are in the Pyrenees, the landscape is so beautiful. You are there all day, you see the sunrise, the sunset, you just have a good time. This on the one hand side, and on the other hand side, I remember in some climbs I suffered from the heat. It was end of June, beginning of July. So in the climbs at noon, the sun was just grilling me. That was definitely not fun. And also in the second night, um, there were thunderstorms and lightning hitting left and right, and it was nothing where you say like, oh, that's a nice ride. And then you arrive at the finish line, and I don't know, the last kilometers before the finish line, um, you swear to yourself, yeah, it was an okay experience, but I'm done with that. Thank you. I don't need to do it again. And then you cross the finish line and you get off the bike, and you have a beer and you have a meal, and you have some rest and some sleep. And the next day you get up and think like, oh, actually that's a cool thing. And I think after Trans-Pyrenees, it took me probably like 2 or 3 days until I signed up for Trans-Iberica, which is 3,500 kilometer, so triple 3.5 times the length. And I thought like, oh yeah, this would be a nice idea to do an even longer ride. And I think the human brain is super brilliant because it blurs all this thunderstorm and not so nice stuff, and it puts all the good experience, like how nice it was, and how beautiful the landscapes you were and how much you enjoyed it. It puts them on the podium, and the rest is just wiped out. And then after a day or something, you just think like that was the best idea I ever had. I have to do another one. And this mechanism is literally happening every single time I go for a race. There's always a moment where I swear I will stop. I will never ever do this again, but I never remember it afterwards, and well, repeat.
Yeah, it's crazy how we have this survivor capability that we just
Yeah,
remember the good and the lows go away, which is great. And this feeling of the finish and crossing the finish line, and then the next day having that such a good feeling of this accomplishment.
yeah.
So when you started, I guess I want to say you're doing for fun, but I do hear that you are, I don't know if you started out training super structured or you were just like free flowing and then you got more serious and got into training, because I know you are structured, you're very data driven. So I wanted to ask you about that. Like, how is exactly your training and your daily routine?
Well, it changed. It changed a lot over time. At the beginning, it was just write more and more and write more often. And then at some point you realize it's just time consuming, but you don't get better or faster anymore. And then you need to change something. And then I started with intervals, but only like Googling what to do and then just try stuff. And for sure it helps. And but at some point. Um, I learned a bit more about training, about myself, and stuff like this. So for a long time, till I think till since 2 years or till 2022, um, I I was creating my own training plan, and since 2 years now I'm working, going in the third season. I'm working with a coach, John Wakefield, a super good guy, also with a very scientific approach, and we had a good conversation when we met the first time, and I was curious to see how I can improve with a structured training that is prescribed by someone who knows what he does. And he was curious to see how it is to coach an ultra endurance athlete, because I mean, 2 years ago, um, the whole scene and everything is evolving so fast. But a couple of years ago, there were most of the people were just like adventure cyclists, and they didn't care about training plans and stuff like this. That's changing now. More and more people also do like structured training. And yeah, since 2 years, I'm working with John, and we have good conversations on what is necessary to train in which period of the year, and also depending on the races I do. So training looks different if I prepare for a mountain bike race like I don't know, Colorado Trail, or if I prepare for transcontinental race on road. So there are different concepts depending on the length, depending on the terrain, stuff like this. So there's no easy answer to the question, but maybe to bring it down to something more simple. The training for ultra long distance riding looks basically the same like for an athlete in professional road or gravel racing. So my daily training is also something between 2 and 4 hours, maybe in average. It also includes a lot of strength and stretching, stuff like this. So not only on the bike, but the training sessions are. It's not like I go for training to do like a 10-hour ride or something. That's nothing you train. You train, I don't know, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. So if I do really long rides, prescribed rides, the longest ones are 5 hours or something like this. So there is nothing like go and ride for 10 hours. It doesn't make sense. You don't get better or faster just by extending the hours. You get better and faster by the combination of different training methods and different sessions, different intervals. So that's where the magic happens, not in the go and ride for 20 hours and then you can do it.
That's good to know. Yeah, I know John. He used to be Pogacar's coach as well, right? When Pogacar won Tour de France the first two
Yeah,
times.
exactly.
Yeah, he did my bike fit. So when you set off for a race, do you look at the map and know where you're going to stop to eat? See, you do that type of research, or you just glance at it and go for the adventure?
Right, it depends on a bit, honestly. So it depends on the area in the world, how good the route is documented, and what kind of data is available for research, and also how popular the route is. So if there is data on Strava or any other platform, or like Follow My Challenge from the last editions last year or something, where I can use like the replay mode to see where people stopped or something. Then you can use this just to get an idea where you can stop. It always depends on certain factors, like for example how remote the route is. If there is only um, I don't know, earlier this year I raced the Atlas Mountain Race in Morocco, and there are sections where you have absolutely no resupply, no water, no nothing for 100, 150 kilometers. And then you need to know the exact point where you need to stop to refill, because then there will be nothing for 10 hours or even more. So it's good to know that exact spot. But if you are, for example, on a road race through, I don't know, Austria, then you probably don't need to plan that much in total, because you will pass a gas station or a supermarket or whatever every 30 minutes, 1 hour. So it always depends on the kind of race and everything. But yeah, let's say it like this. The preparation and the process to think about where I will be when, and having kind of a pace table. Um, this is what I consider as fun in the build up to a race. So I like to sit down and study the map and study data and do research and say like, maybe I can make it to this and that point before it gets dark, and maybe I can get a hotel here or there. And most of the time, I make plans, and but I also have the capability to change plans and to improvise. I don't know, if something happens, you have a flat tire or a mechanical that takes a bit longer to fix, then you need to be able to just to adapt your plan to what happened. And I like to plan, but for me, it's also not an issue if the plan doesn't fit the reality anymore and I need to change it. That's part of the game, and that's fun as well.
Yeah, that's true. And it's good to hear from you, a big, pro and a big champion, because you do have to adapt. Because usually, I love racing, ultra races, but for me, it's just the adventure, it's just the bike packing with a route already made for me.
Yeah,
But I did try to plan before, looked at the map and like, okay, I'm going to stop here, I'm going to stop there, I'm going to sleep here. But obviously, things happened. And now I don't plan as much. I mean, I planned that, but just in my head, I'm not making
yeah,
reservations or anything, because
yeah,
you can be tired and want to stop before, or you can feel
yeah,
good and want to continue.
exactly.
And of course, there's the setbacks of mechanics or weather that you also need to be highly adaptable for this type of races. And talking about this year, would you like to share the approach to maybe pick races? Any
Oh
reason
well,
behind?
I started with Atlas Mountain Race in February. Then I did a few smaller things here in Spain. Did Tracker, then did the Tour Divide, and then there was Colorado Trail and Arizona Trail on the schedule for this year. So four big races, which was a quite filled up calendar. In the end, it turned out that I wasn't motivated anymore, or I was not in the right headspace in Colorado. It had different reasons. One of them were like the outside conditions. Like Colorado is and all the three races in the US. There are different kinds of beasts. So Colorado is super remote. You pass only um, two bigger villages. So you race something like 4 to 5 days, but you only have the chance to resupply twice. So it's a
That's
long way.
intense.
It's a long way from one place to the other, and the terrain is super challenging. And if you're not in the right headspace mentally, you basically already you're already screwed. And I ignored my inner voice before it a bit, and said like, yeah, well, just go and just do it. And then it turned out it was absolutely no surprise. Then it turned out that I was simply not feeling it, and I had no fun while being out there, even if the landscape and everything was incredible and beautiful. But I was not enjoying the process, and so I questioned if I want to go for another 3-4 days without enjoying it, or simply stopping and having a good time in Colorado. And I decided for the last one, to stop and have a good time in Colorado. And then afterwards, because the Arizona Trail Race was the third part of my goal of the Triple Crown, I simply decided it don't make sense, because my goal was the Triple Crown, and with quitting on Colorado Trail, like the goal imploded kind of. For sure, it would be. I could have gone to Arizona as well, but well, it's a long journey from Europe to Arizona, and then again the Arizona Trail Race is something like, I don't know, 7 to 10 days. So it's not something you do in two. And if you already had trouble completing the other one, I just decided it doesn't make sense to force it this year, and I decided to just take a different way for the rest of the season. And I did a lot of bikepacking trips that were absolutely not racing related. But I bought a tent, I bought a gas cooker, and I just had a damn good time on the bike, and it was fully loaded, and it was way more heavy and way more comfortable that I'm used to use on races. And it was an absolutely perfect end of the season, from which started somewhere in August and early September. I still did the Badlands race, but also with a totally different approach. The last years I was really pushing hard, and this year I was pushing not so hard and mainly focusing on enjoying the route. And I still became, in the end, seventh or eighth position. I don't even know. So I absolutely had no idea where I was in the field. I just kept going, wasn't sleeping on the route for 2 days. So it was still kind of racing, not wasting time too much, but also not pushing limits too hard. So I stopped, had a hot meal, had ice cream, stuff like this. Normally I don't do this on racing. I then just focus on keep going, keep going, keep going. And I normally don't have something like sit down meals. I just, oh, there's a pizza. Yeah, get a pizza for takeaway and then eat while racing. I had sit down meals and just enjoyed it. And it was just a different approach. Um, and I learned for myself that it feels good to use the mix and to use all the different options how you can approach a ride. Um, Obviously, I don't need to be the first one, and I don't need to be the fastest one every single time. It's also good. Just I can go to a race even with the goal to not win it and just make it into top 20 or whatever. And I still can enjoy and feel good. And so I changed my season a little to this, and yeah, the mix is just a good thing.
Good. Yeah, we need to enjoy ourselves. So I'm glad to hear that, you didn't feel pressured from anybody, including yourself, and just decided to enjoy the journey. So kudos. And you said you were talking about the Triple Crown. Would you try it again next year? Because, like you said, it's a huge investment mentally, physically, and also financially. To get to any race, it's an investment. But since we are here in Europe, to travel all the way to the US, is this something that it's on the agenda?
Oh, it is somehow on the agenda, but for sure not next year. Um, I maybe need some distance to the US racing, um, because there is so much more. And I saw the Tour Divide, which is an absolutely beautiful route. I really love it, and it somehow it makes you addicted. You want to come back and back and back and again and again and again. There's always something to discover, but at the same point, I know there are so many places where I've never been, and it's just about priorities. You cannot do all of them in a year, maybe not even in a lifetime. I don't know. It's more about priorities. Saying next year I want to go to a few places where I've never been, and then I don't know what the year after will look like. I think I definitely at some point want to go back to Colorado, complete the Colorado Trail. I definitely want to do the Arizona Trail as well, but no specific plans when.
Sounds good that eventually will get out there and get your Triple Crown. I know we have, I was going to say friend, but I have this question for you on Justinas Leveikas. He says hi, by the way.
Thank you.
So I really enjoy you guys' friendship. And I wanted to ask, is this frenemies or bromance?
Oh, that's definitely a weird kind of bromance.
I love it. I hope you guys keep on entertaining us and then challenging each other and pushing each other. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we met, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, the first time, and Justinas and me, there's no other person on this planet with whom I shared so much races. And I think over the years, we shared so many incredible experiences, and that's super special, and that builds a super close connection. I mean, I slept with him in a porta potty in the Great Divide Basin. So, and this was not the only kind of adventure we shared, and this is not the only kind of special situation we shared. I would say I shared even more crazy situations with him than with my wife. So there is definitely a very special relationship, and we help each other getting better every single time, pushing boundaries, pushing our limits, and there is something, a way how we know each other to figure out what's actually possible and what not. And yeah, this is a very good relationship we maintain, and it's there is there is really no part in it which I would say is somehow connected to an enemy kind of thing. So that's definitely good. I love him.
Wonderful, wonderful. And then I'm sure he loves you back. It's really cool to see, like I said, you guys pushing each other to beyond your limits, but also celebrating each other's accomplishments.
Yeah.
So you have those races. There are about 1,000 kilometers that you superhumans do in 2 days, and there's the longer ones like the Tour Divide or Trans-Iberica, Transcontinental, and so on. There's 4,000 plus kilometers. How do you manage this leap? Because on the 2 day one, I think either you're not sleeping or just taking quick naps. But then obviously you cannot go 10 days just napping, or can you?
No, I never tried. No, I don't think it's possible. But I mean, you adapt your strategy. From a certain point, you know your body really well. You know what you can do without sleep, and you also know how much sleep you need, for example, on a 10-day race. And to be honest, there is also a lot of trial and error in it. So I do a lot of experiments while racing and then figure out if it works or not. And if you bring, like me, now 5 years plus of experience in this ultra long distance racing, you have a lot of time to try things, and you will feel the difference on doing I don't know, 10-day race on 2.5 3 hours per night average, or doing it on 4 to 5 hours on average. You feel the difference, and then you maybe meet in the middle or something. But that's super individual. That's nothing what you can copy from other people. I know that, I don't know, a 2-day race I can do without sleep, no problem. Other people struggle, and that's totally fine. It's nothing you can, from my perspective, that's nothing you can train. You just have the capabilities, or you don't have them, and then you build your strategy around it.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of bioindividuality there on the sleep as well as the nutrition. Would you take me over a little bit your thoughts on what you eat and your hydration during this long distance?
Yeah, it's basically a bit the depending on the race. I always try to start with a good amount of food that I carry with me. This in parts it's sports nutrition, in parts it's like normal food, and then when I've all eaten it, um, it totally depends on where you are and what you can get, and you need to adapt to this as well. For example, in Morocco, for Atlas Mountain Race, I focused on just getting packaged food, like everything which is manufactured on like international standards and packed, so to avoid food poisoning. On other races, like I don't know, if I race here in Spain, I stop on a bar and just get potatoes or get a bocadillo or like a sandwich, whatever. It depends on the region where you race. It depends on how remote it is, and then I decide if I need to carry Snickers or if I can eat sandwiches or whatever you can get. But to make it simple, I am on a vegetarian, sometimes vegan diet in normal life. But while racing, I just eat what I can find. And if it's like half a pork, I will eat half a pork. That's no problem.
Yeah, I'm also vegetarian, and when I'm on the road, or even if someone invites me to their house, I eat what's served.
Yeah,
uh, yeah, but especially on a race, you can't be too picky. It'll be very hard to fuel the body. I agree.
yeah.
What about your equipment and gear preference? And I also wanted to ask if you have any non-essential item that is essential to you that you like to take with you.
Yeah, so in terms of gear, um my approach is pretty minimalistic and lightweight. So I have also with the experience and over the years, I've developed like a set of things. Um, I have a big checklist where all the items are on that I ever took on a race. And before I leave for a race, I just go through the checklist, and then I decide what do I need and what not. And that depends on the weather forecast, the area, if it's like high altitude, if it's, I don't know, going to be hot or not. And um, I mean, I have three different types of gloves. So if it's gonna be really cold, I take the winter ones. If it's just maybe a bit chilly during night, I have some gloves that are made for rain, and they don't really keep you warm. But if it's just a bit chilly during night, they are perfect. So I have experience on all the kit items, and the kit is also something really personal, where you need to just figure out yourself what keeps you warm, and what defines feeling warm for you might be different for me. And when I'm feeling like totally comfy in my down jacket, you might still freeze and want to add another layer. And so you need to figure out your own what you need. And I definitely have um, a totally useless item that you don't need for racing, but I carry it especially on everything which is longer than 4 days, and that's a shaver. I shave
Got
my
it.
I shave my beard, and that's for me. I don't know. It's not really disturbing, but at some point, I feel that the beard is rubbing the strap from the helmet a little, and that's kind of annoying me. I don't know why, and that's why I want to stay nice and shaved. And after 4 days or something, there is time to shave, and that's why I on the most long races, I carry a shaver with me, even if I could survive without it.
Amazing. You got to be comfortable. And also, I do believe, I think almost everyone has a non-essential essential that they are carrying with them. So
Yeah.
it's good to know that you are normal, like all of us. Any memorable highlight that stands out for you that you could share with us from your racing history?
Well, there is not just one, there are like hundreds, I think, because every race is special, and I have plenty of memories, but there is not a single one that I prioritize for myself, um, because there's always a story behind, and that makes one moment special. Um, so there is not one, to be
It's hard to
honest.
pick, right?
It's hard to pick. I could share a random one, but there is not the single one. I can tell one per race.
Sure.
I think there is actually at least one moment per race that is like on top of mind. But literally every race has this moment.
Yeah, I agree. Can you share one random, or maybe tell us the story of how you and Justinas ended up on a bathroom, a porta party? I don't know, in the middle of the Tour Divide.
Yeah, well, it happened last year. We crossed the Great Divide Basin, which is a stretch of 150 kilometer of nothingness. So there's no shop, there is no road, there is no tree, there is only like this low vegetation kind of bushes, and an endless gravel road which is passing there. And there is absolutely no sign of civilization. And the specialty of this area is, if it starts to rain, the soil gets really sticky, and they call it peanut butter mud, and it clogs up your wheels and your whole bike. And I never experienced it. Well, I experienced it actually 2 weeks before. But there, then the second time. So it gets impossible to move forward. You cannot ride anymore because like your whole drivetrain and the wheels are clogged up with mud. You cannot carry the bike because it gets simply too heavy. It's like about 20 kilograms or something. You can remove the mud with a stick, and then you move forward for like half a meter and it's clogged up again. So there's absolutely no chance to do anything. And at some point, it was somewhere in the evening, we made a progress of something like 1 kilometer per hour. And I always say, even if you go down on your knees and start crawling, you probably crawl faster than 1 kilometer an hour. So just to have the right relations, how slow can be. And it was raining. It was a little cold. It was 7, 8 degrees, something like this. It was windy, and we soon realized, um, we were literally in the middle. So 70 kilometers to the one and 70 kilometers to the other end. And if you do 1 kilometer an hour and have 70 to go to civilization, it takes a while. And we didn't have food for 70 hours for sure. And at some point we noticed, um, we need to keep on going no matter how hard it is, because if we stop, we get into hypothermia soon, because we all didn't had proper sleeping kit. We had emergency bivy, but well, it's not comfy. So we decided on keep on going. And at some point, there was a random porta potty, so a plastic toilet 1 by 1 square meter mounted on a trailer in the middle of this basin. Nobody knows why it was there. There was absolutely no reason, but it was there.
I was gonna ask, how was in this
It
emptiness one part party?
It absolutely doesn't make sense, and nobody has an explanation why it was there, but it was. So it actually was the only shelter on this stretch of 150 kilometers. So we decided to go into this porta potty and sit in there. Three guys. There was another guy, Jens from Belgium. So we shared this porta potty, the three of us, and we not only waited till the night was over, but we had to wait till the soil was a bit more dry and not sticky anymore. So we spent something like 10 hours in this porta potty, just waiting for times to get better.
Wow. 10 hours, three guys in a porta party.
Yeah,
That's an achievement itself.
yeah. I this is for example something I don't want to do again. So I will go for the next race and also the next race after it, but I'm not motivated anymore to spend more time than necessary in a porta potty.
Yeah, that's too much suffering. So now we are on off season, and you maybe taking it easy, thinking about the next season? What are your future goals and ambitions?
Well, I actually ended off season yesterday. So I started yesterday. I had day one. Today was day two. So I'm already officially in the season 2025. And I will take still need to take my time to plan my season. To be honest, I have loads of ideas, but no fixed plans. I will do quite a couple of things at home here in Spain because it's on the doorstep and it's just nice to race and explore also your the area around home. And then I have a couple of ideas that I just need to put together on a calendar and see what's possible. And I want to finish this probably till end of the month or something. But it next year will be a mix of racing at home in Spain, but also have some ideas for trips to South America, and want to do a mix between like races, just adventures, and something off-road, something on-road. Didn't do tarmac races for a while, so I'm motivated to also go back to tarmac and good infrastructure where you enjoy a gas station every now and then. That's also amazing, and so I will create, or I want to create like a wild mix of road, off-road, a bit of bikepacking, bit of racing. So a wild mix for next year and still put this together in the calendar.
Well, sounds like you're going to be very busy as usual. And I'm glad to see South America in the radar. I am Brazilian, even though I live here in Spain. And South America was never really known as a cycling destination. So I'm glad, more and more people are going there and
Yeah,
exploring because it's also very beautiful and can also be challenging terrain.
yeah, yeah. I was already in Chile 2 years ago, and it was fascinating to me how different it is compared to Europe. And yeah, there are just a couple of more countries in the Andes and to in the area to explore, and that's yeah, it's just fascinating, and there's a lot to see.
A lot to see, a lot to see. Hopefully, you cross from your list all the places and races you want to get to. It's been lovely to meet you and chat with you. Thanks for sharing with us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And hopefully, we'll talk again at the end of the next season.
Would be nice, yeah.
And that's all for today's episode. I want to thank the listeners for tuning in. Your support means everything. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider following, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends.